Welcome to the final night of Storm King's Thunder, where me and a bunch of my dirty-ass friends get together and we like to play Dungeons and Dragons!
Dungeons and Dragons! Dungeons and Dragons!
Tonight we are on session 65, which, as our final session ending in a 5, does my OCD brain a lot of good. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, but we didn't get to 69, which is a
Yeah, I was about to say,
surprise
that hurts my brain even more.
That's the orgy episode. If we do any one-shots after this, we'll just tack on the number, and then when we get there, that's when we'll have our actual dungeon episode. Where we last left off, the Lords of Nightstone, after their bitter entanglement with Donovan, the Generals of Hell, the Jotuns of the fallen Jotun Lords, as well as the Dragons of every hue, were emerged successful, conquering Donovan through
conquering him.
a myriad. Oh boy, a myriad of attacks and abilities as they banished him and then collectively descended upon him, felling the ancient obsidian dragon and his hopes of becoming a dark god. After doing so, the demiplane that he transported them to began to erode, and as you guys return to the city of Nightstone, you see standing before you the towering figure of the Ruby Dragon. Now,
Hey, bud.
Hey, bud.
Arcanauts!
I do want to tell you a little bit about the city itself. It's a much different sight than what you had come home to just hours ago. After the battle with the Jotun, the Giants, and the Generals, most of the city has been destroyed. The keep once again appears as you lords first saw it. 2 of its 4 towers collapsed and in ruin. The inn is missing its 2nd floor. The Lion Shield Coster, barracks, and several of the houses are missing entirely. The only buildings that stand are the Church of Helm and the Temple of Lathander, which, in the chaos of battle, have been shifted from their foundations, and are actually in such a position that they've sort of propped each other up, preventing the other from crumbling.
Oh, they're married.
There are many citizens within the city walls, and soldiers as well. You see several dozen Uthgards, Hydia and Gideon in particular. You see most of the Nightstone Watch, including the still recovering from the last fights, Sidiri, your captain, who is bandaging new wounds. You see the R-Deep Rangers, fewer in number than before. See Knight Erendor, and many of the Order of the Aster set up along the walls, as well as soldiers of Helm's Hooves Cavalry, the Order of the Gauntlet, and the Lord's Alliance. There are many dead to be buried. You spot Tabitha and Heral performing rites, while Riker and many others are digging graves. Oddly enough, you don't see any enemy corpses, as the damned seem to have dissolved into ash when slain. And there are areas of the city where the ash is ankle deep from the countless corpses that were felled. The biggest change to Nightstone, however, isn't the city or the people. Actually, the fact that not a single thing is in motion. Every single person, every lock of hair, every fold of fabric is frozen in time. The torch flames are static. The Wyvern, in mid-air, is immobilized. In the very center of the courtyard, there is no Nightstone above the amethyst pit. Instead, in its place, seemingly as large as a mountain, is the Ruby Dragon, looking down on your infinitesimally smaller forms. A sudden shift in movement catches your eye, as the Sapphire Dragon flies up from beyond the city walls and over the city, where she quickly is followed by the Emerald and the Amethyst. The 3 circle the city before each roosting on the east, north, and western walls, or at least what remains of them. Zapuhiri, the Sapphire Serpent, her eyes wide and reverent, looks on at the Ruby Dragon for the first time in 10 centuries. She lets loose a deep sigh that radiates within your minds, as you each hear her say, "O radiant Sadior, how I've missed your splendid glow." The Ruby Dragon turns to her. "Zapuhiri, you have my eternal gratitude for freeing me from my imprisonment, as do you, Verdizel and Valapiandra. But you, Lords 9 of Nightstone, have played a vital part in a chain of events a millennium in the making. Before I sacrificed myself to end the 1,000-year war, I consulted divine entities across the realm, seeking aid and guidance. What I saw was you, Lords 9. 9 incredibly powerful heroes who would lay waste to foul plots across the continent, and in doing so, pave the path for my return. As I had to ensure my resurrection, I required assistance, assurance that you would be set upon the right path. And I sought out aid among the most powerful of benevolent entities, and tasked each of them with a vital mission. Zafuhiri would make contact with Talabot, and in doing so provide him with psionic abilities that he would need to find the rifts from realms beyond. Valafiandra, my dear Amethyst, would wait in the Fey realm until the day arose that a sharp-eyed champion, with an eye for all that glitters, would deliver her back to this realm. Even my avatar, Arcanaria, devoid of any memory beyond a few decades, was able to recognize the spark within you, Red Death, and planted a fraction of my own fire within you, so that you could burn through as my champion to defeat Imerith and Alglotix. But my creations would not be able to execute this plan alone. They would need divine aid, and thus I searched for trustworthy immortals from across the plains. Seeing the terrible injustice that I had suffered at the hands of evil, the Watcher, Helm himself, took pity on me, and tasked his wisest with doling out justice. Knowing the darkness of the Nightstone was so dangerous, the Dawnfather Lathander sought it to be destroyed, and so sent his brightest knights to help rid the world of its dark influence. The Moonweaver saw me for what I was, a slave to fate, and thus Alistrai guided her most driven liberator to free me. The Matron of Ravens, only recently attaining the level of divine, saw that I would be trapped in my state between a dead god and a living one. The Raven Queen saw me as unnatural, and thus tasked her Veilwalker with determining my fate. Even Asmodeus unknowingly played a part in this chain. By empowering Zatari to fuel the Vanandad, he ensured the death of Zolto, and paved the way for the fall of Malazar. All of these events were fated to happen. Necessary footfalls among a limitless path of stars, so that the balance of the small folk, the Jotun and the dragons, could once again be restored. This path needed to be followed closely, and to ensure that balance was maintained, another man turned divine, Uthgard, sent his finest starkeeper to preserve the path. This path was not without its perils and pitfalls. Your losses have been innumerable. However, sometimes at the end of your journey, you find unanticipated rewards. You watch as a bit of obsidian from the ground, what was once the shell of the Nightstone, rises up as he telepathically pulls it within his grip, clasps it tightly between his hands, and as dragonfire begins to seep from all the sides, he grinds his palms together until he reveals a large oval stone made entirely of shining obsidian. Obsidian itself is not evil. Donovan's selfish desire to become a dark god was his downfall. Obsidian, like all things, deserves the ability to choose what impact they make on the world. As he releases the oval, it drifts weightlessly to Zafuhiri, who takes it within her clawed palm. My sapphire, this egg is to be hidden away until it hatches. Nest it in the magma deep in the belly of the Underdark. My place is not among this realm. In fact, my mere presence disrupts the very flow of magic across the ley lines. I cannot stay on this prime material plane, but will retreat to my own demi-plane, so that I may keep watch from afar. My splendid creations, my darling gemstone dragons, your mission is thus. You are to guard the obsidian egg until it hatches, but I do not expect you to complete this task without aid. With a wave of his claw, two frozen figures from among the city begin to move. The first is Nissa, the white dragonborn cleric of the Westwind Waver. The second is the bloodied form of Felgulus, still wounded from his brawl with Old Gnawbone. Nissa looks up at the ruby dragon in absolute awe, before throwing herself on the floor in a deep bow. Ruby Dragon curls her fingers and causes her to become weightless, and she drifts up before him. Dear Nissa, the last of my priestesses, you who worshipped me for centuries, never lost faith nor wavered in the hope of finding me. And you, brave Felgulus, who stood against months of torture to guard my secrets, who risked his life battling with the larger dragons in hopes of good triumphing over evil. You have both served me well, and with the last bit of strength I possess on this realm, I will restore the balance that was lost eons ago. Felgulus's form begins to shine and spark with this chromatic static, as his draconic form swells and begins to gleam a brilliant yellow light. And as the lights fade, you see that Felgulus, his scales have shifted from that wall of bronze to gleaming armor of shining topaz. Nissa, likewise, begins to shoot out rays of brilliant white light, firing off from every single scale until she is imperceivable. And when your vision restores, you see that in the place of this small dragonborn is an ancient dragon with crystalline scales that gleam in prismatic rays, scattering flecks of color across the city. Sardior allows a smile to slip across his face as he takes in the sight of the 5 gemstone dragons, his creation once again balanced, as was always his intention. As you watch, his form begins to grow translucent. His brilliant scales begin to erode in a glittering red dust, as Sardior leaves the prime material plane for the final time. As he fades, movement across the town resumes as the effect of the god's chronomancy ceases. The townsfolk look on at surprise at the enormous dragons that are now perched across the city, before Zafohiri once again takes the familiar form of Safine. Well, good work, boys! I always knew you had it in you. I hope Donovan didn't give you too much trouble.
He killed us.
Several times.
Well, I don't think anybody
Like
died.
handle.
I don't think anybody died, but it was close.
Well, I'm glad. Oh, and you're welcome, by the way, for the 11th hour reinforcements. I weren't sure anything was amiss until Bane's gauntlet disappeared from her corpse, and the orders alerted us.
Oh yeah, that was freaky. He brought back. He tells her, "Oh shit, Donovan did," or maybe Davos does. Tells Davos to. You have the better edits.
I guess as Lathander's brightest knight of the realm, I could,
God. Immediately went to his head.
Okay.
She goes, well, I'll tell you what, oh bright knight. Since I'm feeling generous, all those favors that you boys owe me, we'll consider them paid in full with what you've done today. But I do ask that you keep the secret of the Cobalt Collector betwixt us. Oh, that reminds me. And as she places a hand on her head, her eyes closed, and then open as glowing golden orbs, a psionic pulse wave is emitted from her. A ripple that is sent through your bodies, as if Davos just dropped the lowest of G chords. The ripple radiates out and across the city, which you don't see so much as you see everyone else reacting to it. As this wave passes through them, they are struck with a shiver, before continuing amongst their business without a second thought. Sapphine gives you a bit of a wink. Says, well, it's not so hard to keep a secret now, is it, boys? The, townsfolk will have no memory of my alternate identity. Nor will they remember many of the horrors that would likely keep your place rather restless for the next several days. They know that you've saved them, and that you've restored the balance to the realm. But the finer details are a little hazy.
Pretty good, because
Can
there were
can I get in on some of that
incomprehensible
action?
horrors.
Yeah, how the fuck did you do that?
Oh, just a little mass-modifying memory. Nothing to concern yourself with. I've left all of you intact.
That's funny because
When you
I
say
still don't-
intact, I reach down instinctively
Oh
and
god! Don't do that. That's terrible.
No, that's kind of scary. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, you think it's scary? Well, this
Yeah.
isn't even the first time I've had to use it on you boys. Y'all have found out my identity 3 or 4 times up till this point.
wait, what?
He pops a smile and goes, I'm fucking with you, Shug. Now, I'm sure you've got plenty to take care of, so if you need me, I'll be around. As she walks off, the remaining 4 gemstone dragons each depart from the city and take flight. Fogalus heading to the west to the shore, the Emerald Dragon heading to the tunnels of the far north, Amethyst heading southward toward the Misty Wood, and the Crystal Dragon heading to the far east in a now vacant lair in Ascor. As Sapphine makes her exit, who do you guys choose to seek out?
Oh god, there's so much to do.
Right.
Think in terms of just today.
God. I mean,
Is there anyone in the town you wish to speak to?
who do we as a
Personal or otherwise?
let's say? Is there any people we as a group need to meet with immediately to fill in? Any of the giants?
I was about to say the Giants.
Just trying to think of anybody else really that's besides maybe. I don't think.
You do see Harshnag and Zephyros talking on the western side of town. If you were to talk to them, Zephyros would be happy to inform you that he has already sent messages to King Hecaton, as well as the other leaders of the Giants, to let them know that the issue with the Nightstone has been resolved, and that balance has once again been restored. Hecaton is most thankful for your aid. Who do you guys
trying
choose
to
to seek
think.
out within town? Doesn't have to be a plot-specific thing. Could be a personal thing.
I was about to say, like, I think we all have our own.
So say it. This is the time for it, dude. Y'all don't have to stick together and walk as a 6-person unit to everywhere you go.
What do you mean? These are the only people I know, and one other person.
That's
Could be
Yeah,
digging
all my-
through the rummage for some alcohol.
All my people are on a turtle, so
I'm gonna go give my mom a hug.
your mom? No, she's
Yeah.
thrilled to see you, as is your father and your sister. Your mom is shocked because, part of you is singed and burned from the lava and magma that you were recently doing battle with, but you're also scratched and scarred and bloodied. You're feeling pretty good overall, but you don't look too good from an outsider perspective.
It's a great way to show up to your mom.
Once
I mean-
you
I'm alive. I think she'd be happy overall.
she
Man, oh.
she is relieved, more worried that you might have lingering injuries, but your father sort of gets her by the shoulder and goes, "Oh, calm down, honey. Boy knows how to handle himself better than anybody else in this damn town. You've done good, son. I'm real proud of you."
aw.
Thanks, Dad. You helped.
Damn
couldn't have
right
done
I
it
helped.
without
I
your
got all
help.
those fucking slaves out of the back lines. You would have had to carve your way through fucking 200 people if I didn't go back there. And he begins to ramble on a bit as your mom hushes him.
See? See, that's where I get it from.
Your sister throws her arms around you and a little shorter than you comes up to about your shoulder and squeezes you tight and goes, "I'm really glad you're okay. The Fey Fighters wouldn't sound the same without you, and honestly, there's not really any other good bands that really tour around here, so I gotta keep it going."
I would just tussle her hair.
Gives you a bit of a grin as someone else catches your eye. Helena, who as soon as she sees you, begins sprinting towards you. And it's about this moment you realize when you guys were fighting the Jotun and the dragons and the generals through most of the night, and the moment that time was frozen when you returned was just the very beginning of dawn. And as Tabitha rushes up to you, she throws her arms around you, almost tackles you. You're feeling a little exhausted, and but you steady yourself and goes, "Oh, Davos, I'm so glad you're okay. I knew that you would be fine as soon as I saw the sun, but it's so good to see."
I grab her, plant one. Good to see you too.
So you did it? You killed Donovan?
We all did, and I would nod to Bergen, like,
But did you land the felling blow like you did with Gnawbone and Valora and that giant blue bitch, Imrith? And that white one earlier, I guess, too.
I would look at her and say, I did not.
Wow,
just glad that it's gone.
You guys would also know he didn't land the killing blow on Imrith either, but that's that's not what he told Elena.
Character
You
growth.
had to know.
Exactly. She goes, well, you gotta save some for them, right? I'm glad you're okay. It's kind of a little scary around here. I don't even know where to start with trying to fix all this up. What's next for us?
After fixing the town up, figured, we saw a lot of cool places during saving the realm that I didn't really get to fully enjoy. Maybe we can check them out together. Except Waterdeep.
Aw,
No, we
Because,
need to nuke Waterdeep.
She goes,
we didn't get to enjoy Waterdeep at all.
I would like that. I'm not gonna lie, there was a part of me that was, worried you weren't gonna make it back. I was thinking how life would be for all of us who are left, if there was anything left.
Probably miserable.
It made me realize that I can't picture my life without you. And she kind of blushes a bit and turns her head down. Just promise me you won't take off anymore. At least not without a
without
little
you.
bit of a heads up.
Not without you.
Oh.
Davos, in this moment in the morning light, you feel a bit of warmth in your pocket.
Hey, yo.
She's slipping you a handy, and
Jeez. Not in front of the boys.
They make medicine for that, man. Don't worry about it. It happens.
Oh God.
Warmth in my pocket. I reached in.
You reach in. This was the pocket where you had placed the diamond that fell from your chest. But when you reach in, you don't feel a diamond, but pull out a fully formed golden ring with the diamond embedded in the top of it. Seemingly a favor from the wingman that is that is Lathander, to help you out in a bit of a dire moment. Dire, a little stressed, but
Lathander helping you score.
I guess taking the cue, I would pull it out, drop to one knee, and offer it to Helena.
Without hesitation, without a doubt. And she throws her arms around you and she plants a big kiss on you, and when she pulls away, she's almost giddy. She's like, "Oh, well, this is perfect. The Fae Fighters can be our band. We can get your dad to officiate. Ellister can make my dress. I don't want to think of today as our wedding day, so let's let the dust settle from this madness. I've always wanted a summer wedding. I'll get planning with Daphne right up." Oh God, that's right. She's gone. And she turns to look over by the inn, and you see the crumpled forms of Marak, Daphne, and Inwis. Bergen sees this and comes over, looking over the shreds of literal ribbons that is now Daphne's body. And he's tearful as he says a prayer to Helm before he pulls out a diamond of his own, the diamond that Queen Mary gave him. He goes, "The Storm Queen gave me this, a token for saving her. I'm not sure that this will work, but I've got to try and correct this injustice." And as he clutches it, he looks down at Daphne, and then over to Inwis, the young drow girl. And as tears begin streaming from his face, "I'm so sorry, Daphne. You deserve so much better than this." As he clutches that diamond, it begins to glow. And he turns his back on her and walks to the small, crumpled form of Inwis. He falls to his knees before her, pulling her small frame into his lap. Her face and body have been mutilated beyond recognition from the countless boils and open wounds across her form. Bergen begins to pray as his grip tightens around the diamond, and as it crumbles within his grip, the diamond dust wreathes itself around his arm. He begins to channel that into the wounds. Inwis's body starts to glow and bright and mend itself. And as the glow fades, the small girl weakly opens her eyes and smiles at Bergen, her hand resting on his arm. And at that moment, a familiar voice speaks up. "They have said from the beginning that you were the best in all of Faerun. I'm glad that they were right." And incredibly, and unbeknownst to Bergen, as Inwis's wounds began to glow and mend together, so too did the ribboned remains of Daphne. You all watched as the folds of flesh began to weave back together, almost as if forming a mummy, layer by layer by layer, until at last, the pink-skinned tiefling once again stands proudly in her hometown. Bergen is in shock, and before he can say anything, Daphne reaches down to hold his face in her hands. Says, "Thank you, ever so much, Monsieur Stonespy." And with that, she leans in and plants her lips against Bergen's.
His
Bergen
virgin lips.
immediately turns as red as his hair as he bumbles up. No problem. Anytime, I guess.
I like that a lot better because I was looking at reincarnate. I was like, "Oh no, what if we have to?" And that's much better alternative.
And the only reason this diamond worked at all on Inwis is because this is a particular diamond that has a significance and it's worth an incredible amount. There is no reason that Daphne should have came back as well, except for the fact that Helm wanted to reward his saint, his chosen champion, for his heroism.
The god's giving out Scooch today.
Scooch? Wow. That's
A literal do ex machina.
Bergen better be Saint Bergen in all of your canon lore from here on out, or I will riot.
Oh yeah,
Oh, don't worry, dude.
Absolutely.
As the excitement sort of begins to fade over by Bergen and Davos, is there anyone else the rest of you would like to seek out?
Yeah, I guess I'll. I'm gonna pat Goldbrand on the back, and I'm gonna look over, and I'm gonna say, "No matter what I said in the past, You're not really that stupid. And then I'm gonna use mold earth to make myself about 5 feet taller because I want to try to see if I can find Tabitha.
as these two stone stilts rise from beneath your feet, you spot her over in the graveyard. It seems she is set to work immediately with laying the dead to rest. It doesn't take you long to approach her, and she hasn't seemed to notice, as busy as she is with her prayers. And as you approach, you hear her going through the last rites, a very particular prayer to the Matron of Ravens. He's wishing the spirits a easy transition across the realm, wherever it is destined for. And as she finishes, she lays her hands on the freshly sealed earth, and immediately it begins to blossom in nightshade and deathbell and foxglove and all of these other beautiful plants that are also highly, highly venomous. Poisonous, excuse me. What do you say?
As that happens, I'm gonna look over and I'm gonna say, I never thought I would see something so dangerous be so beautiful. The flowers are okay too.
Smooth. As Tabitha turns to see you, Vicora, thank the matron you're all right. And she throws her arms around you. So you did it, you freed the ruby dragon.
Something like that. We freed it, it freed itself. I'm not sure. Happy to be alive, along with the rest of our party, honestly.
She smiles and goes, you freed a god. I can't emphasize how impossible that would be to normal people. I'm honestly a little bit stunned. When I met you, I thought that we were comparable in terms of strength, but you've grown so quickly. I'm afraid I couldn't hold a candle to you.
No. I look down and I'm like, I think you're a lot stronger than you give yourself credit for. You give me more strength than you know.
Oh. You give me strength too. And she sort of locks her arm in yours and asks you to regale her with the tale of your epic conflict. And as Vi and Tabitha begin to walk off into the graveyard, Goldbrand, is there anyone in particular you wish to seek out?
So I think Goldbrand would go find Hydia first, and then probably Gideon.
You find them together. It seems several of the Uthgard have gathered up.
I was about to ask if they're not all together. Like he doesn't have to go back out to the camp. We're still kind of
Clan fire.
on the side. Not quite. Maybe not yet. We're still on the battlefield, right?
You're still in the town itself, yeah.
Yeah.
As you begin to approach, Gideon comes over to you and extends an arm in a familiar Uthgard greeting.
Yeah, he'll grab his forearm. He'll probably just go and tell him, since he's there, that Azazel's is dead. Amergo's is dead.
Oh, I saw you cut through Azazel, and Amergo go down in that explosion. It was insane. I'm not gonna lie, I know that you've taken care of Azazel, but I'm a little worried about Amergo returning. I don't know, I just want to consult the stars. You did promise me a trip to the Star Mounts later.
Indeed, funny. I thought about that earlier this week. Indeed, we have a tablet to make. We do have to take trips.
Can we use the obsidian egg?
Wait, what?
The obsidian egg?
You asked
Make a tablet?
I'm just picturing Gideon Rider.
That would be funny, though. And it's funny, when you say this, Gideon has no knowledge of what you're talking about the obsidian egg. That was all while time was frozen, so it sort of seems to go over his head. You gathered that is a secret, not only to the gemstone dragons and yourselves. And you've just ruined it, Davos. He entrusted you with a secret, and less than 2 minutes later, you tell the whole damn town. Goddamn.
I think as a bard, I could probably
Yeah.
cast Modify Memory.
I was going to say the opposite. As a bard, you can't keep your mouth shut for very long, can you?
It's funny. There is a spell called the Gift of Gab that lets you
Oh,
recant
yeah.
what you've previously said. And in this moment where you say that and see the confusion on Gideon's face, you feel a bit of that magic flow through you. And Barbara, goddammit, the gifts are already flowing in. And you feel this. It's almost like a rewind happens, and you go back to that instant right before you mentioned the obsidian egg. And Gideon seems none the wiser.
Where are we supposed to find obsidian?
We can. I will take him, so we can take him to the place where my tablet was made.
Oh
Large
yeah,
mountain.
fucking camping trip with my dads.
Like
Fuck yeah.
It may not be that fun. It's a little dangerous.
We're gonna do drugs in the woods. How bad can it be? I mean, shit.
I just spent a year camping with your dad. It sucked.
He snores though, right? It's terrible.
He's always snorting drugs every night. I'm sitting here trying to sleep, and
Oh yeah, he's
Calm
always
to
like, yeah,
take the habit.
I will take the first watch and then get super high. Like it's fucking
Right.
crazy.
Does all the travelers
Gideon-
does.
Do what I got.
Gideon heads up
freeloader.
with you. As you wrap up with Gideon, Hivia sees you, comes up to you, and goes, "I'm glad you survived, storekeepers. Now can we fucking goes? I thought chiefdoms was exhausting, but you've put us to fucking work these last few months."
Yes, those the tribes are. Oh. Give me one more night. I'll tell you in the mornings. If you can all goes or not.
She goes, "Your people have questions, Starkeeper. We do want to know what the fate of Utgard is, but that is up to you to interpret. You have won the respect of all the tribes, and whatever you say, we will follow. You've given us glorious days of battle, and brought me back from beyond. I thank you for that.
He points at Bergen.
No, not Bergen, not the Holy Man's, you. Would the Holy Man even be here if you didn't seek him out to begin with? You are the reason that I am standing here today, Gold. You are the reason that all of us are here. God damn it. Okay, I've got to minimize this over here.
I mean, I'm just glad that it's all almost over. I thinks. I hopes. I'm ready to go back to the forest.
Me too. But I have to ask
Bro,
you,
what?
how the fucks do we get down from this place? At this point, you guys realize your city is still suspended some 40 feet in the air on the amethyst gemstones.
Womp womp.
And as you're sort of contemplating how to get people down, you hear to the west, to the east, the bellow of a dragon. And as you look over the eastern walls, you see the Western Wyvern. The crew approaches and begins to swoop across the city, meeting up by the front gate, where they begin to transport down anybody who wishes to. Tajin, in particular, flies down from the ship to meet you, lords. As he does land, he places his fist in his open palm and bows very, very deep, without rising, as he says, "Bahamut has spoken to me and told me of your deeds. You have restored the divine and brought balance back to the realm. Pandora," he rises, "as the chosen of the amethyst, you are always welcome aboard the Wyvern. And should you ever need our aid, we will answer the call."
I politely tip my hat. I appreciate the offer, and it's good to have powerful friends in high places.
He grins a bit.
Or high friends in powerful places, like Goldburn.
A little bit of both.
Little column A, little column B.
Covered from both sides.
He turns his attention to you, Arcanox. Arcanox, as the champion of the returned ruby, we hold you in the highest regards of respect. Should you ever wish to, the Westwind Wyvern would happily have you leading our crew.
That's something I would much like to consider, actually.
I would
I
thank you for your
actually-
consideration. Sorry, one
Captain
more time.
Mark does have a nice ring.
No, I was gonna say I've actually had a couple job offers in the last day or so.
You're right, though. Tajin goes and approaches Taliband and Galvin, who you know to be the chosen of Sapphire and Emerald, respectively. And as he exits, you guys don't so much see them. You see a black-winged figure rising up by the western wall. It's Harvey, and in his arms is Avalon. It appears that the 9 Lives has made their way back here. As Avalon touches down, she quickly scans and spots you rather quickly. She goes, "Oh, thank fucking God! I thought you were going to be hiding, and I would have to search all fucking day for you."
Oh, I can't hide all the time, especially when there's a lot of devastation. There's some booze that's laying around that's free.
Pandora fucking digging up tequila bottles from the ruined inn.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, that's what she's doing.
It was I don't exactly know what happened, but I do know that I was yoinked from my body and stuck in the middle of a fight against some spooky giant dudes.
Oh yeah, no, that was absolutely 100% my fault.
That's
no biggie.
That's new. I've heard of twin telepathy, but that was a bit much.
Because I love you so much.
Aw.
Just had to have you there with me.
Well, I was glad to be there when you needed me. I gotta practice that a little bit. I felt like I took one hit and was out of the fight. I mean, I'm normally a little tougher than that.
Well, our opponent wasn't exactly, the tavern
fair.
balls we're used to.
He goes, well, when you're ready, Captain, we've gotta take care of Lord Dryland. That cunt's days are fucking numbered.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's first on my priority list, and then I think we should take over Skullport and rule as pirate lords together. What do you say?
I like the sound of that. That's a job. That's a bit of work, but I think we could pull it off.
It's easy peasy. I already stirred up some trouble last time I was there.
Oh, you stir up trouble everywhere you go. But I'm really glad you did.
Took out him too, though.
Avalon hugs you again, and her and Harvey sort of begin assessing the damage of the town, and Harvey actually begins making rounds to bring the rest of the crew up to try to get them to begin helping in the repair efforts. As he rises up the final time, you actually see there's a figure beside him. Standing on a plume of water is a red-scaled figure holding a trident, as Captain Dynamite is rising up from a plume of water that Snapmaw is magically controlling. He quickly steps on to the lowered drawbridge, which is kind of ironic because it lowers to nothing. It's just open air. But he finds you, Arcanox, and... Red Death. Well, you've had yourself a bit of a makeover since the last time I seen you.
Oh yes, I've nearly forgotten. I am now the champion of the Ruby Dragon.
His eyes... well, actually, first he laughs, that's a good... Wait, you're not fucking with me.
And flexes the ruby scales a little bit.
He looks you up and down and nods his head and goes, "God damn! I knew you were always destined for great things. We always, send our strongest out into the world to make a difference. You're certainly no different. Speaking of, actually, I think it's important that you know, we were able to get Kyrax revived. He's on the ship down below. I know that the last time we met I offered you the role of captain, and that offer is still open. But I don't want you to do it out of obligation. If you choose not to accept, Kyrax is an acceptable substitute. Will be good for the Inferno. Perhaps not as good as you, but I'd hate to put you in a bind by twisting your arm.
Well, in light of recent events, I feel that Kyrax would make a fine captain. giving his life for the crew in the final battle nearly only further proved his worth in my eyes.
Captain Dynamite nods his head and goes, "You're damn right about that. I won't lie, I'm a little sad to see you go, but you gotta spread those new wings of yours, I guess."
Indeed.
Yeah.
As I feel I have a new crew in the workings.
Well, if you ever need some, little reinforcements, you know where we are.
I mean, if y'all want to help me take Skullport,
I mean, there's always room for a
Taxes.
detour. I mean,
What was that, Ben?
I said there's always room for a detour, you know?
Oh, of course, yeah. Now, it'd be a little hard to get Snapmaw down there to Skullport, but we could stow away on your ship and cause some fucking havoc. I heard you almost burned down the place last time you were there. We might as well finish the job.
Fireballs
Yeah,
akimbo.
Security is more than weakened.
I want to goes if y'all do that. Let me knows.
Yeah, you're always welcome, Gully.
I'll lead you to all the finest brothels.
As
Skullport seems like no place for my lady.
good point.
I'll have to turn
as-
down that.
As Harvey comes up, once again, you see that young Volcano has popped up with him. And young Volcano sort of struts his way over to you, Arcanox, and goes, well, I see you've done, kind of grown up on me. Which is funny coming from... Which, even as a kid, he's probably still 5.5 feet. Dragonborns are pretty tall.
Oh, yeah. Wish I could say the same, young Volcano.
He goes, well, I guess you haven't heard, but, I'm leaving the ship. Yeah, we've always got to set our strongest to the winds, and I've got to find my way among the world now.
Seeing
Well,
that
wherever you find yourself, you have powerful allies everywhere you go.
As do you, Red Death.
Stick
He
him on
also
the
tries to
river.
take your forearm, and it's funny because his fingers don't even go like halfway around your forearm, and yours probably easily dwarf his. But no, you have a nice little moment with your young ingenue.
Seeing
Is
that
there
scrawny
any-
little dragon fellow makes me think of that lizard guy we still gotta go, like, beat the shit out of.
Oh, yeah, we gotta find
Control
him.
our shit.
That's on my list. I was hoping you guys would remember it before I got to it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Is there
absolutely.
anything else or anyone else that you would like to see to in the town today?
I mean, I think we need to have a celebration.
Yeah, I think that probably Goldbrand and Tally would have a conversation, but I don't necessarily want to do that. I just want to call that out. Like, I don't want you to have
Give
to
us
be
the
Tally.
gist
'cause
of the
he's not here.
conversation.
Oh, I don't know. So I imagine they would have talked about the gemstone dragons, because that was Goldbrand can do a thing or two that the gemstone dragons can, and that was what they bonded over. So I figure they would end up like, Tally wants to go back to the wild too. Goldbrand would probably offer him a place in the tribe, especially if he's been involved the whole time.
Well, I appreciate that offer, friend. But I'm afraid there are a couple of tasks that I must see to for Zappo here. You mentioned earlier about the connection that you share to the dragon. I feel it's only fair to tell you that when my psionic blade struck you that time, it left... What's the best way to phrase it? Almost as if a leak. Just your presence mentally was more noticeable to creatures that are akin to such psionic abilities. It was actually the Amethyst Dragon who realized this from across the Fey Realm. It was one of the first moments that she realized there was things being stirred up back in the Prime Materia plane. She bestowed you with a bit of that power, hoping that you would cause just enough havoc with it to keep things rolling. And you certainly did.
I was glad it worked out, to be honest.
Because, as am I, my friend. You have
So
made a
what?
wonderful city. Made a town out of a place that was once ruins.
Yeah, I can't
should all
wait to
be
get
proud.
out.
It'll be nice to sleep in the trees once more. Yeah. Gives you a bit of a nod. Does like 12 backflips, because, you know, Sally fucking ridiculous.
Because he can.
Because he can, exactly. Excellent. Anybody else want to talk to any particular people on this day? Okay.
Like I said, maybe like a celebration at the tavern. Gather
you
everybody
guys-
around, pass
Oh
around
no, yeah. The
tasks.
night after, we're all gonna get drunk.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was.
Have
It's
a
funny
never-ending
because
keg.
the inn is missing its second floor, so the Fae Fighters set up on that like it's a rooftop bar and just jam out. There's drinks that are flowing plentifully. Everyone is reveling in your victory and cheering for the. Oh, okay. I thought we lost Josh. Everyone is reveling with your victory and celebrating their survival and mourning those who did not make it through the multiple conflicts that have led to this point. And while it is a little dour at times, the city seems indebted to you. Thankful that you guys have guided them through more or less an apocalypse.
Sometime through the
Everyone-
night, Goldburn wants to do prescience. At some point.
Excellent. Coburn, you find yourself on top of the ruined keep, your tablet in hand, and you read the stars. Is there anything in particular you're looking for?
He just wants to make sure it goes farther than he can see.
It goes, and it goes, and it goes, and it goes, and it goes. You see countless things, glimpses of them flashing by. You see some sad moments. You see the eventual deaths of several people you know. But you gather that the path has been restored. That the bottleneck that was this moment of uncertainty has been resolved. And as such, you are free to lead your people with the stars as you see fit. If you try to focus in on the tribe and determine whether they split or go their own way, you are met with but a single vision. Yourself, standing within a sleuth fire with the chieftains of all the other tribes. No answer comes to you, and you gather that Uthgar, who's providing you with these visions, is leaving the future of his kind to you.
That's pretty
Alright.
rad.
Yeah, it is rad. Very stressful. From Goldburn's
You snap-
perspective, very stressful.
Great
Snap out of it.
responsibility.
Yeah. You snap out of your prescience and throw up a little bit.
God damn it.
Anything else anyone would like to do on this day? Going once.
Goldburn gets
good.
drunker.
Yeah, I'm ready to go have a party though, maybe sort of, or at least feel alive for once.
Yeah. You guys, you and Tabitha drink heartily.
Imagine
uh,
Earthbender Vikura parties hard.
Probably a
Ooh.
He's
lot.
got that constitution score, dude. He's solid.
Probably a lot harder than real sad Z over there. Like my whole family's dead. I don't know anything. It's like I don't. My memory doesn't exist. I'm hanging out with my girl. Let's go party.
Fair
I
point.
mean, Arcanox is just over here drinking burning ethanol, so
About halfway through the night, while you guys are doing this, a Keek comes up to you. And he says, "My lords, I have something that I believe will be of great interest to you. This was found in the basement, still sealed. It is a massive keg. And on the front of it, there's a series of hand-scribbled notes, in Morak's handwriting. And Akik says, it appears that he was working for quite some time to provide something that you requested when you first came to this town, Lord
The
Goldberg.
never-ending keg.
Yes!
He believes he has perfected it, but you are the only one who can say for certain. He pours you a glass of this clear, incredibly repugnant, pungent is probably the better word, liquor that he passes over to you.
Does it smell like forest water?
Exactly like forest water.
Does it taste like forest water?
Moonshine.
It tastes like forest water. It has that heat, that kick. And it, unlike the forest water that you guys make, that tends to have a bit of pulp, this has been finely filtered and refined to where it is smooth.
Truly. Shine.
Akik asks, did it live up to your quest?
It does. I would like this recorded and continue to be made in towns.
Well, I've got good news. We've got about 12 kegs of it down there. And he turns the keg around, and you see that burned into the side of the wood is the visage of a towering bald man, and written above it, Bald Bear Forest Water. As he has perfected this forest water recipe and has plenty to go. And has recorded the recipe. Akik says, we will have more ready come spring, and I believe that once we can prep another batch, we'll have more ready in the fall.
Cool.
Maybe in spring we could put some like blueberries with it, or
Akik goes, oh, no, you take the berries and you soak them in it right now. Like, the berries soak up all the goodness and they taste sweet, but it still gets you really fucked up. It's a very efficient way to get drunk. Trust me, I blacked out a couple of times to know.
Helena loves blueberries. I'll take 12.
He gets you a whole keg!
I was about to say, Goldbrown is going to take some of that with him.
Oh,
Go
yeah.
get some extra wine skins for liquor flask.
Excellent.
That's hilarious.
You guys, as this day comes to a close, we're going to do a little bit of time jumping. There's several things that happen over the next several months. For one, the rebuild of Nightstone. The city grows back bigger and stronger than before. The city is still suspended some 40-odd feet up from the ground, now resting on a bed of amethyst that is over a lake. When the city took to the skies, the void that was beneath it was filled by the river, and the locals have dubbed this Crystal Cove, as when you swim in it, you are looking up at the crystals in the bottom of Nightstone. Nightstone itself has been restored to its former glory, and even improved in many ways. The keep stands restored and is emblazoned with your purple banners. The new Nightstone Inn is now a 3-story tavern with a rooftop bar and stage. The tavern is ran by Akik, and the Fae Fighters play whenever they can get together. The Church of Helm and Temple of Lathander proved difficult to separate preserve, but through arcane means, the buildings were separated and now stand side by side. The apothecary has expanded to include a sizable greenhouse, and Helena happily runs the business. Taylor, the former apothecary, retires from the shop and opens a small orphanage in town, where she helps raise hundreds of children through her long halfling lifespan. Where the stables once stood, there is now a schoolhouse, where Daphne teaches reading and writing to young and old alike. The stables were relocated down by the river near the mill, as ferrying the horses up and down proved rather difficult. Below the city, dozens of farms, pastures, and small houses that fill the clearing within the woods. There's also a row of fine pink amethysts that allow those who approach the main gate to drift up weightlessly to the gatehouse, without need of being ferried up or down by other means.
Very fancy.
Also below, at the edge of the Ardeep Forest, stands the Arcane Animal Conservatory, where the retired Clyde Swiftwhip houses his magical menagerie and gives guided tours. Included in this menagerie are all the animals that you guys passed up on when you first met him. A couple of displacer beasts, a foxhawk, an ember cat that, while a kitten when you guys first saw it, is now the size of a lynx. Sirius likes to help with tours and sniffing out any troublemakers. And Ember roosts here occasionally when he's not searing the skies above Nightstone Keep. Your mounts are also frequently present and featured. And there is a plaque honoring Keeve Sturwin at the front gate.
Oh my god, yes!
Rond and the Ardeep Rangers keep the forest well maintained, and they enjoy occasionally tracking down some escapees from the sanctuary nearby. The seared area of the High Forest, through the help of Golbrand Thar and the Trents, blossomed into that thriving forest once more. But where it overlapped with the battlefields, The trees bear skeletons and fragments of monstrous foes. The locals believe it's haunted, and that on a full moon that you can still see the dead walking within the woods. This section of the High Forest becomes known as the Deadwood. Many of the cities that Bane razed and decimated beyond repair are lost to the ages. The smaller towns like Zelvorus, Lork, and Hillsborough are never rebuilt. But Graf the Freemason, as well as Valkyr and the Silent Rain Mercenary Company, lead refugees and builders from Nightstone to begin rebuilding Everaska, Valkyr's hometown. Well, hometown on the surface, anyway. It's an arduous task, as all the local lumber was incinerated in the battles, but after a decade, Everaska is a city once more. Not quite as big as it once was, but a city nonetheless. The world of men is not the only world that experiences some change, however. With the ordning restored, efforts are made to begin to better integrate the giants and humans. Hecaton rules over an era of peace with the small folk. And the shift in the ordning has led to several changes with Eoden. Stone, now at the bottom, tend to be more thick-skulled, and thankfully more reclusive. They are also slightly shorter than they were. The mute stone giant that you befriended, Zork, returns to his people after his exile is lifted. Thane Sky, the rock keeper who now leads the people, does not mind the demotion, and has longed for his kin to get their heads out of the skies and back into the earth. The hill giants, being promoted, leads to advancements in their intelligence. They learn how to manage larger cattle with a more nomadic lifestyle. They're also less flabby and show a little more underlying muscle. The hill giant Herc returns to the tribe, and the chief, Chop, the butcher, who you guys never fought directly against, but in a roundabout way helped kill Guh. Chop works with Clyde Swiftwhip to attain enough giant yaks to sustain a steady food supply, meaning that the hill giants no longer raid local settlements, but rather have their own supply of food. The fire giants being demoted results in them having more primitive metallurgy. They tend to now work more with iron than they do with steel or adamantine. Duchess Cinderhild is annoyed by her people's demotion, but is thrilled to be out from under her father's thumbs. Her lack of military interest results in the future fire giants being less skilled in combat. Actually, Zatari works with her to unearth the Vonindod, which Zatari sees dismantled and melted down as he begins to produce additional firearms, as he trains up a corps of riflemen for the city of Nightstone. The Cloud Giants, who also took a demotion, seem to be... the demotion itself, all the other giants seem thrilled with. You've heard several of them refer to the Cloud Giants as a bit of snobs, and as they take this loss, they lose a little bit of their magical prowess over the years, but they also lose some of the vanity that accompanied it. Count Thulin, as a pacifist, focuses more on helping people than pursuing clout. His advancements in agriculture lead to the Cloud Giant castles booming into thriving greenhouses. A single fruit or veggie can feed an entire town for a day, which he is more than happy to provide as he drifts his way across the country. Zephyros does not mind the demotion at all, but the decrease in magical potency severs his ability to connect with the extraplanar entities that told him of the path to begin with. Rather than upset, Zephyros is relieved, as keeping up with the next cataclysmic event for centuries is no way to live life. Side eyes to Goldbrand. At one point, Zephyros crashes his tower into a mountainside, and now it just lives there, embedded in the side of a mountain, hundreds of feet off the ground, now immobile. The Frost Giants advance 2 ranks and see the biggest cultural upset. For one, the Frost Giants grow a good 6 feet in height. They're also much more intelligent and reasonable, and they work with both the Storm Giants as well as the Small Folk. Advances in fishing and whaling techniques, combined with an increase in marine populations brought on by the subaquatic terraforming of the ocean floor by the Storm Giants, leads to a swell in marine life that lets the Frost Giants sustain their lives on the whaling and fishing rather than resorting to pillaging of local towns. Jarl Harshnag leads them as guardians of Faerun. He has them travel the countryside in pairs to provide aid when needed and defend small folk and Jotun alike. Occasionally, Harshnag gets bored and they go squash an evil adult dragon somewhere. He also does his best to make amends to Anam by leading his people into unearthing and rebuilding the Eye of the Allfather. The Storm Giants see the return of their king and queen. Mirren is tried as a traitor, but Hecatan, unable to send his own treacherous daughter to her death, instead traps her within a pocket dimension, where she lives in a livable, mostly comfortable exile.
Permanent house arrest.
Yeah, coward.
Basically.
Coward.
Go to your room forever! The middle sister, Nim, is deemed innocent, an accessory only by magical manipulation. However, he did do it, though. He got away with it. He had to make 3 deception checks through this encounter, and she rolled a nat 20 on 2 of them, which is
Jesus
very fitting for her character. Despite this, she never makes a move on the throne, or Sarissa's life. She sees her sister as doing good, and is content in knowing that she was able to get away with, more or less, treason. Hecatan rules for another 50 years, before deciding to be the first Storm King to secede early, and allow Sarissa to take the throne. Queen Sarissa works to ease the storms across the seas, and provide constant rainfall through the small folks' growing seas. He works with Harshnag to help keep Faerun safe, and Uthor and his men personally see to the end of the last straggling cultists of the Kraken Society. At some point during the 6-month period, a moot is held, where the chiefs gather together and look to Goldbrand for guidance. What do you tell them?
So first, I just like to imagine Goldbrand has a sick-ass Kraken tattoo somewhere. I haven't decided exactly where. Either the front or the back of his neck. You know how they were getting tattoos?
Yeah.
For kills and trophies and stuff.
I personally view it as a tramp stamp, but continue.
He may already have ink there. He's inked up.
He's got stamps on stamps on stamps.
Cast your votes on Goldbrand's tramp stamp.
Oh boy. Oh,
What do you tell your people
Goldbrand-
as they gather?
Oh, the first thing he will tell them is that. How's he gonna put this?
Picture across his chest in Old English is witness.
Love it.
As of this time, you are all free to go your own ways. The threat to this land is gone, for now, and hopefully will be gone long past the time that all of us are gone.
The chiefs seem to nod in agreement, and you gather that this was largely the mindset with most of them. The Blue Bears continue to follow Goldbrand wherever he leads them. The Grey Wolves actually lost Cannith in the fight, and Romulus assumes her place as the chief of the Grey Wolf tribe. He works to expand their culture to actually seeking out people who are lycanthropes and trying to aid them, even if they choose not to join the tribe itself. Enola, the first Talon of the Griffin tribe, leads her people back to the town of Griffin's Nest. They are actually the only Uthgard who actually have a permanent settlement. The Elk tribe, near exterminated, joins the Trigos clan and helps protect the High Forest. The Black Raven tribe returns to Raven Rock, but Kaya does not join them, instead opting to become a full-time resident of Nightstone. The Great Worm tribe, mourning the loss of the second chief within 9 months, return to the frigid spine of the world, where they continue their reclusive lifestyle. The Black Lion tribe return to their Pride Lands, and Rancor goes with them, absolved of his exile. The Red Tiger tribe continues their migration, but every year Riker stops by to spar with the new recruits of Nightstone. The Sky Pony tribe actually forms a network of message and trade between the tribes, keeping you all slightly more connected. Marengo names it the Sky Pony Express. Ding. The Thunder Beast tribe returns to their ancestral grounds in the Neverwinter Woods, bringing with them the incredible beast from their islands. The woods become a thriving ecosystem for the ancient beast that they called home millennia ago. And at some point...
Fuck. We brought dinosaurs back to the continent, y'all. Oh god.
You did, yeah. Whatever. I'm so excited because all of this is going to change whatever campaign I do next, or if Devin chooses, or any of you choose, any future Faerun campaign will have these changes in effect. So there are some fun things to explore that weren't there your go around. Gideon does expect his trip to the Star Mounts.
So I also think Golbrand would, because I feel like this is in character, he would also tell, if they did this before they all left, he would tell the tribe that they all could send, depending on how many of them had Starkeepers, their Starkeeper apprentices.
Excellent. Oh, that is fantastic.
Because like I figure that's how they may do that. Like I picture Starkeepers as being a little less, like they would communicate in between cross tribe and stuff. I don't know. Makes sense.
This is actually very needed, as you find out that through the troubles they've had fighting the giants and beyond, that many of them have lost their Starkeepers. And it is difficult to train someone who possesses this innate ability, but without the instruction to properly interpret it. And you receive 11 such apprentices, counting Gideon, one from each of the tribes. You guide them through the Star Mounts, where you find... the Star Mounts, by the way, are a volcanic set of mountains. I believe they are dormant now, but you do find an abundance of obsidian glass nestled around them, and are able to get tablets made for everyone.
I like to think the journey there and back, they do prescience at night, so it's like prescience boot camp, make your tablet. Prescience boot camp on the way back.
Like arts and crafts, and then fortune telling. You do teach them to read the stars well, and it's a weeks-long process. Definitely not anything that happens overnight. But it's almost a little bittersweet for Golbrand, because as you're teaching them this, and doing it every night, you begin to feel your sight fade a little more day by day. After Gideon endures a particularly rough session, you finally feel that he is ready to assume the role of Starkeeper. And his eyes, still bloodshot and wide, look to the sky and says, the stars are moving. And as you look up, you see that it is not an effect of the drug, but rather the literal stars are shifting within the skies, forming a new constellation, one of a mighty warrior prophet. Golbrand, as Starkeeper who leads the Blue Bears, and indeed all of Faerun, to victory and survival against this insurmountable threat, you are immortalized by Uthgar as your own constellation, the Starkeeper. And as you feel this starlight wash over you, you feel as it peels back something you had forgotten about. A darkness that has lingered within you since you first purchased the slave. Uthgard has cleansed you of Merkel's hold on you.
Damn straight he did.
And you get the sense that this was your ultimate purpose, to guide your people not only to survival, but to help them thrive beyond. Elsewhere in the continent, Safine and Tabitha continue to work as Lords of Waterdeep. Safine actually deposes Scarlet, who you guys know as, oh fuck,
that
one
bitch.
bitch. Yeah, that...
Kella Darkhope.
Kella, thank you!
I like how everyone just said that bitch.
That bitch!
We hate Kella Darkhope in this kingdom.
Oh, yeah. Safine has her tried and executed, and leads
Publicly.
the movement to... Yes, of course.
Does Golbrand
In fact, they actually sell tickets in Nightstone to it. It's incredible. They
public execution.
Safine leads the movement to end the masked lords, so that no one could abuse their station in the way that Scarlet and Sage did. So they are no longer anonymous, and therefore held more accountable in their actions. Valkyr works with Gideon and Osvius as abolitionists. He works to delve into the Underdark and free those who are trapped within Menzoberranzan. And there are a steady stream of drow who appear in Nightstone as refugees until they get on their feet, and while some stay, many go to find their own path in the world above. Talaband, with the aid of Zapuhiri, becomes a vital part of the Gemstone Dragon network, often tasked with transporting and protecting the priceless Gemstone Dragon eggs that are being brought into the world. Zatari, like we mentioned earlier, has been melting down fragments of the Vonindod to ensure that it could never again be rebuilt, and by utilizing that melted adamantine, begins to craft firearms for both the citizens of Nightstone, as well as a few choice friends you've made along the way.
Do they call them Von rods?
Oh no.
Come
They
on,
should.
it makes sense. It makes sense.
They should.
It makes sense that you would give us a fucking groaner on the last session.
I usually I hate you so much. Like that was a really
That was beautiful.
It was pretty good. No, yeah.
That's what I would call them.
Zatari groans and dismisses you, but then you find later that he has actually named them the Vonenrods. Pandora and Avalon, with you two, track down Lord Dryland, which Safine is more than happy to tell you is awaiting execution within a prison in Waterdeep. However, you two, liking to take fate into your own hands, infiltrate the prison and slit his throat. And Avalon gleefully watches him bleed out.
Goron scolds them when they get back because they didn't take him with him.
Both of them know that you're too fucking clunky to sneak anywhere. Bergen is actually brought to Helm's Hold and immortalized as a saint by Helm himself. Yes. Bergen is now the patron saint of restoration.
Ooh.
Davos, the Knights of the Order of the Aster reach out to you and ask that you take up the mantle of their leader. And under your guidance, the 88 Knights of the Order of the Aster become much more involved with protecting the realm, being more proactive rather than reactive as they have been in the past. Between you and Bergen, you two are able to absolve any friction between your faiths.
Sweet. Can I just point out that there's 88 keys on a piano, so it makes sense that
I
88 Knights.
That's funny because it's actually written as 88 Knights. That's not like something I did. So that's really cool. I like that. Fucking bards. Goddamn. Oh, and that fucking lizard man, you guys eviscerate him. There is not even anything left to bury. And it takes you quite some time to find him. You gather that he hopped town several times hoping to lose you guys. But when you're fleeing against 14th level adventurers?
We're basically gods.
Yeah, I don't even want to kill him. I'd chain him to a wall in a dungeon and just let me like fingertip tree root like through random parts of his body on occasion. Like, nah, you know what you did.
I don't know.
Twist his dick!
I think Goldbrand would kill him on sight. There wouldn't even be no warning. It would just be swinging. I warned you.
Start to, and B's like, no, we gotta make him suffer first.
No, see, it'd be
also,
great to strap him just to the front of my ship so he has to get, like, hit and, like, waterboarded for the rest of his life.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
y'all somehow, it's like using the mirror image spell. Y'all somehow get your own unique method of torturing and killing him personally. You all just have your bloody way with him. Also, V, I've got to warn you. Yeah. Also, V, I have to warn you. It's dangerous to start a sentence with, so I chain him up and finger. And
we got removed from YouTube immediately. Sorry, it's my bad.
It's okay. We have one final big event that I was going to get to. But before we do that, from the final Battle of Nightstone to where we are now, it's been about a year. What do you feel your characters have done in that year?
Took over Skullport.
Pandora, you and Avalon and Ark have all worked with your respective crews to do your best to begin to establish yourselves as a powerful criminal organization. One of the better criminal organizations.
We only
More
criminal
neutral
the
rather
criminals.
than good. What was that?
I said we only criminal the criminals.
Only criminal,
Robin
and you got a
Hood?
town full of them.
But
You
no
guys do
slaves.
manage.
It's like,
No slaves. You guys do manage to transform Skullport quite a bit. And while there is not one de facto leader of it, you control a very large monopoly of the city. Pandora, anything else that you guys choose to do? You and your sister, I mean.
I don't know. I mean, it was fuck bitches get money, and now we got it.
You got the
Why would
bitches,
you
you got the
stop?
money.
got the money.
Just cleaning it up, man.
Arcanox,
Fancy shit.
where does this year lead you?
Well, I like to imagine that Arcanux took control of the Wyvern.
Absolutely.
Him and Gene.
Going from one wyvern to another, I like it.
Right. He wants to talk to them that even though he respects their reverence to Bahamut and all that kind of stuff, Bahamut is a smaller part of a greater trinity.
Yeah.
We're not going to be goody two shoes, so to speak. We're going to promote the balance, so to speak.
No, absolutely.
Which is why I'm
balance
also-
is not. Go ahead.
I'm the leader of the Wyvern now, but I'm also the gang leader.
Oh no, I get it, man. And some of the members are very excited about this. There's a dwarf on board, Jesse, who's the powder monkey, who is very excited with leading away from the more goody two shoes stuff. And some of them are a little hesitant at first. But the crew of the ship actually grows. Galvin, who's the chosen of the Emerald Dragon, joins on full time. And Pandora, as chosen of the Amethyst, is always welcome as well.
Oh yeah,
And
we
you
guys
guys,
sit together.
yeah. And you guys do continue the Wyvern's overall mission, which was to help when things get really out of hand, but to more or less do as you see fit. Excellent.
Which is race the place Dale.
Praise hail, praise Vale! Absolutely.
Keeping the
Z,
bell.
what do you choose to do, my dude?
I think during that downtime, instead of sticking around town, I think I'm going to continue to explore and try to find myself a little bit. But I think I asked Tabitha to come with me, right? So instead of just letting her hang around in town as she had generally done before, I want to invite her along to show her like it's not just about burying the bodies, it's also about finding the forlorn spirits and helping them find a way to cross over and seeing if she can help me tap into that and learn a little bit
absolutely.
herself.
No, 100%. You two work in tandem, freeing many of the begrieved spirits that lie trapped across the realm. And it is very much a learning experience for both of you. Tabitha has long communed with these spirits, trying to help them find some semblance of peace. Whereas you give them a direct passageway to the Raven Queen herself. You both continue to grow in power as you absorb more spirits and as Tabitha learns alongside you. And while y'all still do pop in occasionally to Waterdeep or Nightstone respectively, y'all do become sort of this migratory force of ghost cops is what I want to call you, but that's not what we're going to go with.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, Angels of Death, she's good cop, he's bad cop. Like,
Exactly.
that's what I pictured.
And as an ASMR, Tabitha is expected to have a very, very long lifeline.
Span.
She actually, thank you, like Span. She actually sees you progress through to your water form and to your air form. So she gets to know all four of, Z, V, and what other fucking letters we decide to do.
Freaking Captain Planet over here.
We
Who knows? You might have might see Avatar V in a future life in another campaign.
You never know what he's going to look like or what element he'll use.
Exactly. Toward the end of the year, after you have collected several such spirits and delivered them to the Raven Queen. She wishes to provide you with a small reward. Something you have already had in a way. As she takes the spirit of Kaya, she manifests it once again as the actual dog that it was all those years ago. And you're reunited with a friend from lives beyond.
Ooh, that's dirty. I love it.
Good. I also put down Tabitha brown chicken round cow? Brown chicken wow wow? And I think that we've established that, so we're good.
That's maybe possible.
We call it warmth in the pocket now.
There's a small chance we circle back to the now haunted wood and it was romantic
Oh,
instead
yeah.
of creepy. And maybe we got
Oh.
married. I don't know. Who could say?
That's it. That's where you... Go ahead.
Sorry, we at least got handsy. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Tabitha finds the haunted woods, the dead wood, excuse me. Super fucking romantic. Y'all free a few spirits while you're there. Find a few spirits of Bane's army that you instead just choose to banish. And make your way all across the country. All around the country, all around the coast. You and Tabitha, go and get in Ghost.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
Davos, what do you choose? Well, let me back up one more. Goldbrand, what do you choose to do?
Besides the trip to the Star Mount,
Indeed.
I think Goldbrand would, in the beginning, would help with as much physical labor as possible, digging graves and helping, doing mold earths and all that fun stuff to help fix stuff. I think he would try to do his best to expedite the process, assuming that all the other Uthgar have went back to their ways of life, to the forest. I think he would spend most of his time involved with getting repairs done. He would like to have, towards the end of the year, as repairs finished, would like to go to Gideon at one point.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember, sorry. I don't know who's gonna... So before he goes to him, he will take off his Nightstone ring, and he will take the scythe off of his person, and go find Gideon. And he will tell him, when the city is done, I am going back into the forest with the bears. You have a place among us, if you wish. But you are a fully blooded Uthgar that can go where you please. But, if you would like to stay here, if you plan to stay here, I hope that you would take this. And he'll hand him the ring. The Phoenix ring.
Gideon accepts it and goes, I've been wondering myself where my home is. While I am an Uthgard, I was not brought up as your kind. But now as a Starkeeper, I feel like I have a duty. But I'll meet you in the middle, old man. You guide your people for as long as you see fit. And when you decide to retire, or when a rock comes and eats you and Griselda gets to have one last laugh, I will be the next Starkeeper. If that seems agreeable.
It won't be too long, as I imagine.
Oh, come on. Nothing's killed you yet. You'll be fine.
So Goldbrand can still see, right? Just not as well.
Yeah, it's like early cataracts. There's spots that are a little fuzzy, and there's you can't see quite as clearly as you can at a distance. But no, you still possess vision.
It'll be fine. I'll come talk to you when I can't see again.
Yeah, Goldbrand feels I've got a good decade in me. I can do this for at least 10 more years. And Daphne taught me that's this many.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention this.
I like to think Goldbrand spent a little. You mentioned at one point that there was that Daphne was teaching. That Goldbrand would go to that when he could. Like, I like to imagine at the end of the year he can, like, he can't read well or write well, but like if he had to open a book and get information out of it, he could eventually.
No, you actually prove. It's funny. It takes you a long time to get the foundation of it. But then it all just seems to fall into place one day, and you find while you're not, tearing through books or anything, that you can get written information as needed. And beyond that, you're actually fairly multilingual. You do know Common and Jotun and Druidic and Sylvan. Daphne teaches you a touch of Infernal, and you learn a little bit of Draconic from the time studying the stone. So you actually become quite well read.
I know 2 words in Draconic. Freaking Fate's Nightmarish.
Seared
Turned
into all of
into
your
my
minds.
friggin'
When you come to Gideon and give him the ring, I think you said you were also giving him the scythe?
He would also offer him the scythe.
Gideon
If you
takes
want.
that, and is very thankful. He goes, no, I've, after we killed Emergo and he came back, I don't know, paranoid that he's gonna come back. So I will take use of this. You know, I've actually got to thank you guys for, sort of letting him blow himself up. I had this sort of crazy idea, you know, last time we fought him, he could command me to do whatever he wanted, and, you know, I didn't stand a chance at resisting it. And, if it came to it in that fight, I was going to use the axe you gave me to cut my arm off, get rid of this tattoo, and go in and try to finish him. That was DM Joey's plan, but y'all sort of skipped past it.
That would've been cool.
Man.
Respect.
I had a couple of really fun things we didn't get to do, but that's okay.
That
Gideon
is a
takes the
badass
scythe.
scythe to banish
Absolutely.
extra dimensional threats from Nightstone.
Oh, yeah. He also gives you back your obsidian axe. While you guys had been in the Star Mounts, he crafted 2 obsidian axes of his own. And returns the one that you had lent to him all those months ago. Excellent.
He feels a twinge and he's like, something that should belong to me. Has been handed back."
I was just about to. I like to think Goldbrand, like in passing, is like, "You want this Max?" Because like he can make his own as well. Like,
Give one back to me. I like it, especially as an Earth Genasi. That you know, an axe made of a rare stone like that probably has a special little spot for him in his niche.
I like to
Yeah,
think.
I imagine he grabs the handle and gets like a tingly feeling in his gut. He's like, "Oh yeah."
Oh yeah, brother.
I would love to see him earthbend it, like change the shape of the blade, because
Ooh.
like
Can he
That-
do that?
100%. You can shift it to a sword. You can shift it to a flail, to a mace. You can change that to what you want at will.
Okay,
pretty
that's
badass.
sick. And let's go into the backpack. See you later.
Yep. Goldbrand, Hydia, as chieftain, leads with you for the remainder of both of your lives. Revna, your daughter, currently the first claw of the tribe, a position you once held, and when Hydia eventually passes, Revna takes her place as chieftain among the tribe. Edensaw recants the tale to everyone he can possibly tell, the tale of the Starkeeper, who 3 years ago saw a point where the future was in jeopardy and set out to make it right. And through a long and arduous series of tasks, collecting these individuals, learning of the giant threats, and one by one eliminating the giant lords, attacking the source of the issue by slaying Slackrathel and Emerith, uncovering a much darker plot, and eventually ending it, becomes an Uthgard legend that is learned by all of the lore keepers and is told for centuries. Your son Nijal, while you did... Oh, did he? I thought y'all brought him back. Oh,
don't know if he-
God!
list.
I can check real quick. I had wrote something for him, but if he's dead, I won't read it. I forgot about that. Let me see. Battle of Bane. Who dead?
Bergen's way stronger than we thought he was.
Yeah.
On you for killing us that many people, bro.
Y'all brought back Hydia, but not Nijal. No, you're right. Oh, no, you did bring back Nijal. And I remember because he was like, I finally die in battle. Like, you've always fucking talked about it. You fucking
Okay.
take it away
You're
from me. Okay. I was about to say, I thought he was alive. Nijal, and now you've made me lose my place, Devin. Fucking bastard.
I exist
There's-
because you misery. Never forget.
Najal, while you did give him permission to go to Nightstone, actually has found a kinship with the Uthgard that he never had before the Battle of Bane. Many respect him for sacrificing his life for the tribe. And as such, he finds himself not so much in a position of respect, as in like a highly regarded, but is welcome among the tribe without them looking down their nose at him as Uthgart's shame. Nijal does actually choose to spend most of his time with Uthgard, except for about 3 months of winter, where he chooses to live in Nightstone, because it's too fucking cold in those goddamn woods. With that, unless Goldbrand has anything else, I think we're going to round to Davos.
I
No?
don't think so.
Okay. Davos.
Do we
What do you
want to take a
think that-
break real quick?
It is a little late. Yeah, we'll take 5 to 10.
Beer run.
We'll take 5. We'll take
Beer
5
run.
to 10. We'll come back, take a shot, and then we'll finish up.
There you go.
Hey,
I'm down.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And with that, my dudes, we'll jump back into tonight's session. All right. Davos, as you have worked this last several months from the Battle of Nightstone, what do you feel that Davos has done?
First, meta-wise, I'd like to petition that whatever the in-game date is, we have a yearly festival, like the Nightstone Festival, to celebrate,
Love that.
the savior of the
Everybody shows up.
Faerun. Yeah. And
Absolutely.
so before everybody goes their separate ways, I would have liked to ask each member of the group to, hey, come back 1 year's time. I'm going to have a big reveal.
Yeah.
It's going to be worth it.
Oh no.
But in the meantime, the months, we rebuild Nightstone, help out everybody do that. And then
Absolutely.
I take Helena almost like a chronological timeline of all the places I visited and kind of rehash the stories with her. In the towns, revisit, perform at the taverns, hopefully even go down to Hecatan down in the Storm King's lair, show her that, like romantic, but
Oh,
cool,
absolutely.
get a little bit
it's
of
funny.
money.
Orin catches wind of this and is like, "Oh, we're finally launching the FFFFT, the Fae Fighters' first fucking tour!" and you guys go and y'all tear up. People flock to the taverns, and it's funny, y'all quickly start selling out taverns and have to move to larger spaces. Y'all sell out entire theaters, opera houses. You guys move up and they're starting to just perform in the town square, because pretty much the entire town wants to come out and see the legendary hero who helps take down 6 dragons by Helena's account. Granted, 2 of those aren't yours, but she's more than happy to fib a little and say that they were.
It's a bard's
and
curse.
And for Helena, a girl who was born and raised in this small town and never left it until it was razed, this is an eye-opening experience for her. She sees the world in a way she never would have without you. Many people in this time would never be more than 10, 15 miles away from where they were born, and she is traversing continents. And it's a very fulfilling experience for her. She learns a lot about the world and herself and of you.
Right.
what
And
else
I
do you
think
do?
traveling around, I'd be asking her to look for places where she might enjoy, want to settle down, if it's Nightstone, and also commission the rebuilding of Oralbar,
Excellent. Yes.
because I believe that's still been demolished.
No, yes, it was deemed a little too risky to try to rebuild it while the stone giants were still stomping around. But no, you work with your people, and along with several refugees from Oralbar and several people who just wanted to assist the rebuilding of the area, flock to it and rebuild it. Are you trying to stick pretty close to what the original blueprint was like, or are you trying to just build from scratch?
A little bit of both. Like, kind of
Yeah.
keep the same stuff, but places where there might have been improvements, improve upon. Like
You work
a specific Lathander temple instead of just
absolutely.
a church.
Yeah. You guys begin building the temple, starting with what was the church as almost like the first foyer that you walk in before the actual temple itself. So you're starting from the bones that were in place, but expanding on it. And it's a bit of an arduous task. It takes you guys weeks to work before it's even remotely inhabitable. And several people do choose to move back into Oral Bar. Even people who did not live here previously like the charm of this new place, and flock to it. While you're building the temple, you're working with some stone, doing laying parts of a wall, and a gentleman approaches you, an older gentleman, kind of grayed, and he asks, I heard that the city had been decimated. I didn't realize that there were those who still wish to restore it. I thank you for doing this.
I mean, it's my home. And kind of point to Helena. I think she has her heart on settling down here. It's kind of hard to do so if it's in ruins.
He goes, well, the ruins needed to be rebuilt, and I thank you for that. It's funny, I actually helped build the first temple that was here.
That's not, I don't recognize him, do I?
You kind of squint at him, and you don't recognize his face, but a name does come to you. A name that was on a plaque within the original church. A name that was on a tombstone that you found, which is very curious. The name that you recall is Fenton Brightblade.
I don't recall that meta-wise.
Oh, like in the moment you wouldn't recall it, or?
Like, I don't know if I know that, like, meta. I don't know who that is, but if
No,
you're
you
just
do.
saying that, okay.
No, so when you had to do the ritual to restore Azazel's sword into a workable blade once again, into a holy blade rather than an evil one, you had to get several components to do that. One of them was something from your hometown, something that was a part of where you were from. And that is where the tombstone that you pulled from the wreckage of Oral Bar, tombstone that was sort of blocking, or sort of had the crest of Lathander from the church sort of half hidden. When you were cleaning that tombstone for the ritual, you were able to read it and see that it was Fenton Brightblade. And that was a name that you would know as the original founder of the church, the knight of the order who came to this place to originally set it up. But that was decades ago. That's kind of weird. Especially this guy. He looks a little older than you. He doesn't look that old.
Are you Fenton Brightblade? I've seen your tombstone.
He grins a bit. Oh, no, yeah. It's a bit of messy business. You're the Dawnbringer, right?
I am?
Well, from one powerful, entity to another. No, I was immortalized by Lathander some time ago, and to sort of keep any unwanted interest from pursuing me, I would go and set up a new church and live there for a decade or two and fake my death and move on to the next one. Make a few less enemies that way. In fact, I had quite a sweetheart here. Younger woman, dark hair, was a bit of a spitfire, and he tells you a name that we haven't previously established. That is the name of Helena's mother.
Helena! Think of your dad!
Helena comes up, and you fill her hand, and at first she's incredulous, like, this guy's like like 60. He can't be my dad. And you watch as like a visible blow to his pride happens, and he sort of explains the situation to her. And also in the town with you is one of the survivors of the attack on Orlbar, Helena's mother, who does recognize him on sight. Helena's mother explains that.
I think we should give him a moment.
They do talk for several moments, in some tones that sound a little agitated on her end, at least. And as they come back to, they sort of explain that Fenton was very important with the church, and Helena's mother was worried that revealing that he had had a child out of wedlock, that he would be dishonored by that others would look down on him. Fenton does very important work for Lathander. His previous chosen champion, as he explains to you, decades and decades ago, when he was also a young adventurer. But
Used to be an adventurer like you.
until he took an arrow to the knee, of course. He does make amends with her mother, and promises to do his best to make it up to her. Says that he's through with his usual business for now. It seems like Lathander has somebody else to take up his mantle. Gives you a bit of a grin. But you have effectively reunited a family that was never truly together. He and Helena and her mother take the time that you guys work on rebuilding the town, and they talk each night, and he gets to know each of them better, and they get to know him. And you gather that...
At the wedding.
The wedding, yeah, exactly.
This has become
yeah.
drinking habits D&D edition.
It's funny, I plotted this long before I knew I was going to be directing Drinking Habits, for the record. I just thought the moment of you building the church, he was going to pop up at the wedding, but you building the church just seems like such a good moment to tie that in. Yeah, you gathered that Fenton was an adventurer who had worked to stop the resurrection of Tiamat, which, Harshnag was also a part of, and that was several decades ago. And it seems like now he's run his course as adventurer and wishes to settle down, to pass on his bit of divinity. You also gather that him being made holy by Lathander is the reason that Helena is an Aasimar. She is celestial in nature because her father is a divine chosen. Not quite a demigod, but not too far from the mark either. You guys
I would assume, since her dad's there, that we would get married there in Orlbar.
You certainly could if you would like. You guys worked for several months to rebuild the temple, to rebuild the town, to get everything reestablished with the city. And Helena picked a very particular day for the wedding. She set, you were wanting to get married sooner, like, hey, the battle's over, town's more or less fixed, this is more or less fixed. And she insisted on one particular day, the summer solstice. And she chose this day because, as an apothecary, she's always felt a very strong connection to the earth. And the summer solstice is the day where the sun is closest to the earth. And for a sun knight marrying an herbalist, she thought it was the most appropriate time. When you wake up that morning, however, sleeping separate from Helena, of course, because you never see the bride before the actual wedding, you find it's a little stormy, a little gray, and you feel like that might damper your evening a little bit.
I got an Instruth heart, bro.
Absolutely.
Control weather.
You start shredding on it like it's a fucking electric guitar at first, and then like this causes the clouds to billow back, and as the sun comes out, your tone transitions into something a little more, a little softer, a little more reverent, and the sun shines down on the newly restored Orlbar, and it is now a beautiful day. Clear skies with a nice breeze. This city, of course decimated, and now repopulated with several of the refugees, For this particular day is home to many more, as many of the citizens of Nightstone, and by extension Waterdeep and Secumber and Daggerford, have wanted to celebrate this with you, and have flocked to your town, providing it not only with a swell of coin, as these people come from all over and in an odd way sort of help give a little bit of new life into the city. The city square once again looks whole. You're happy to see the myriad of blossoming flowers across the city that Tabitha and Taylor, as a gravekeeper and another apothecary, have chosen for their important significance for this special day. You see that dozens of benches have been built to go within the church. The stained glass has been brought in and placed, and everything feels perfect. Citizens chatter excitedly as they finish up preparations for this day. The harpist Freda of the Fae Fighters has in the courtyard strumming her strings lightly, making small bits of snow that drift away from her, cooling down the town on this warm summer day. And kids eagerly chase the snowflakes across the city, squealing with glee as they catch one. As the guests begin to flock in, you see Gideon enter with a nice suit, and on his arm is Kaya, the Black Raven Uthgard, who is a member of the Westwind Wyvern crew. She's wearing a fine black dress of raven's feathers. You see that Hideon and Goldbrand come. They are wearing fine furs and beaded necklaces, and Goldbrand's cleaned up, and from the look on his face, he isn't too happy about it, but Hideon kind of wipes some schmutz off of him. You see that Sarah, Bergen's potential love interest, is actually on the arm of Captain Phillips, who, as Bergen walks by, you watches both of them sigh sort of longingly toward him. You see that Harvey and Avalon are there, arm in arm, both of them dressed to the nines with far too much jewelry, and you gather most of it's probably stolen. You see that Valkyr is on the arm of his shade of a wife, Rua. You see that Talaband is currently has Safine locked arm in arm with him, and Zatari has Daphne on his arm. Bergen, in true Bergen style, is going stag, and still missing that ring finger on the left hand. V and Tabby are looking very sharp. It's funny because their outfits could pass for either wedding or funeral, which seems fitting for the pair. Pandora and Arcanox are also there. They're dressed in the fine clothes that Elister made you guys to go on the Grand Dame. You also see Brahm, who was the smith that you guys freed from Ironslag, who was Arcanaria's longtime companion. And he looks a little grim. But Miros, the Yeti, who's the other blacksmith of your town, comes up to him and goes, "Oh, it is a joyous day. Why are you so down in the dump?" And Brahm looks up and goes, "Oh, my girlfriend sort of turned into a dragon god." And Miros goes, "That's rough, buddy."
That's rough.
Davos.
I think that's bad. I heard one guy's fiance turned into the moon.
Davos, as you are standing before the canopy that has been built for you, you see your father, finely dressed in his shining armor, smiling proudly at you. You see your mother and Helena's mother, both sitting in the audience, locked arm in arm, both of them weeping, unashamed. You see, you look to your left, and you see your groomsmen, who I imagine are the male lords who are present, as well as maybe Orin. Orin at the back of the line, and also a good 4 feet shorter than anybody else in it. Looks...
It was a rush by height, bro.
with one of the nice angles for the... you look across the aisle to see Timpani, your sister, and Pandora, who are the bridesmaids on Helena's side. Timpani is, they're all dressed in very fine dresses. Timpani does not look happy about it. She is not a dress kind of gal and is very much a little displeased with it. But she's got this look on her face like, "I'm doing this for you, you fucking asshole." I
have a feeling we had the tailor make it a little bit more skimpy than should have been, just to piss her off more.
Oh, there's a slit up to the fucking hip.
Wow.
She
This is fucking half-orc Aloy, isn't it? But her...
Yeah.
half-orc Aloy, yes. She a bae. She a bae. As Helena makes her entrance at the front of the temple and begins to walk in, her father on her arm, the two of them now reconnected. Frida switches up her beats to become something a little more lighthearted. Ellister, the tailor, is weeping unashamedly in the front row. She's beautiful, and her dress is flawless. I made it myself. Helena comes down the aisle. Your father gives a prayer to Lathander, and you two exchange your vows. Helena championing you as this smart aleck bard she grew up with, who went on to be a hero of the realm, and is thrilled with everything that you have turned into. And she's loved you every step of the way. She says that you saved her from Jasper and the Iron Ring, that you saved her during the Battle of Nightstone, and that you saved her from a life of despair. You've brought so much light into her life in so many ways, and she can't wait to spend the rest of it basking in your glow. Is there anything you would like to say to her?
Oh, okay.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
The music is lining up way too good, by the way.
I always cry way.
I didn't prepare any vows.
Y'all all see Ark shed a single tear. It immediately sizzles off from his intense body temperature. You don't have
No,
to say
I
anything if you
guess
don't
I
want
would
to,
say something like, this world wouldn't be worth saving if I didn't have you in it.
Aww. The whole crowd does that. Aww.
Glad you're here.
As your father completes the ceremony and turns to you, also crying, Davos, you may now kiss your bride.
A classy, lip to lip, no tongue.
You do that, and she forces her tongue in anyway. She grips you tight. She locks on. She's got. You put a ring on it. It is done.
Succubus all over again.
I forgot. Oh, one little retcon. As you go to call for your ring, you snap your fingers, and from Bergen's shoulder on the far back of the church, Ember glides up the aisle, streams of flame behind him, and lands upon you. You take the ring, place it on her. You'll have your tender kiss. And the crowd is cheering, and everything just feels like it's fallen perfectly into place. And as that happens,
Oh god.
you notice that there are sparks that are flying not from Ember, but from behind you. And you turn to see a large wreath of sparks and flames as a portal is opening up. And emerging from beyond it is a very tall woman with 6 wings, each of them bright and vibrant, her skin fair, her hair long and blonde. And you don't recognize her so much by sight as you do by reputation. This is Titania, the Summer Queen. And this, the day of the summer solstice, is her time where she is most powerful. As she comes through at this apex of the summer solstice, she does not look to you or to Helena, but rather to Bergen. And she says, "God damn it, Barbara, you gotta stop making me fucking break by posting goddamn memes."
What I'm here for.
As she locks on to Bergen, she goes, "I apologize for interrupting your revels. Today is the only day that I could make this passage, and it is deeply necessary. Several months ago, during the highest point of fall, I became aware of an artifact that I thought long sealed away, once again out and about in the world. An artifact that I cannot allow to continue." Bergen, knowing what she's speaking of, begins to approach her. She says, I thought the item lost to time, but I cannot leave it be. This artifact was forged by Asmodeus for the Winter Queen, and only a chaste soul can destroy it. Bergen, being chaste from the very beginning, happily takes the ring off, and there is no explosion of frost, no blizzard that causes havoc or pain. And as he gently slides it upon her finger, begins to glow this incredible bright light. And it shatters, and as it does, the fragments dissolve into nothing but snow. And the interior of this church gets a generous dusting of fresh snow. Titania looks down at Bergen, thanking him for the duty of him and his ancestors for keeping this artifact safe for as long as they did, and hopes that he can now enjoy a life without the need for constant vigilance. She looks down to the two of you, Davos and Helena, and apologizes once more for interrupting this most special of days. But as she looks at Helena, you see she hesitates. And sees that there is quite a bit of power emanating from you, child. A wish that was made and kept. Helena, when you had met her before going to Imrith, had wished for you two to share every dawn together. And that bit of celestial in her blood consecrated that as a true wish. Titania is happy to see that this has come to fruition, and offers you to utilize that wish in whatever way you see fit. He is giving you a wish spell, a 9th level spell that allows you to do whatever you choose to.
Oh God.
Oh fuck.
Davos is just like,
I just love how the party's like, oh shit, you gave it to the bard?
The church
Davos!
that you feel the church collectively take a small gasp as those of the members who do know what this is realize the gravity of this. Davos, you have been given this wish. What do you choose to do with it?
Oh, jeez.
Not to put you on the spot or anything.
So she's ASMR. What's that lifespan compared to an elf?
You're a half elf, yeah?
Yeah.
So you would live easily a century. With an ASMR, you're actually quite comparable. They're both.
Okay.
She's not immortal, but I would say you would both have the opportunity to maybe live till 150 as your upper range.
So I was gonna say, if I was gonna die early, I would just wish to live longer. I don't know if that even works.
I have a suggestion.
Yeah?
She's gonna say like she wanted to spend see every dawn with you. Make it so you do see every dawn. Make yourself immortal. Make you and
For
Helena
both of
immortal.
us? Would it work for both of us?
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. It's a wish. You can do anything.
It's a wish, my dude. Yeah, the rules on this are very light.
Yeah, the whole premise is that it warps reality. Like,
Every dawn until the sun explodes.
That would be terrifying. Like, humanity's gone, but you two are still wandering the planet.
I feel like I've seen
You
an
have
episode
to.
of Futurama about this. I don't know.
shut up,
The heat death of the universe.
I feel like, character-wise, I wouldn't waste it immediately. I wouldn't know what to wish for.
Oh yeah, he sat on it for a minute.
Davos wishes it all starts over again.
Oh, God, no.
Exactly. In the Hall of
The
Honor
ultimate
plays in
trump
the
card,
background
man.
elegantly. It's beautiful.
Like, part of me wanted it to be that Bergen finally gets a girlfriend. But
I wish that Bergen fucks.
Queen. Oh wow.
let Bergen show
my
her the stone's
God.
fire.
Don't swear.
You can choose to hang on to it if you wish.
I-
Titania will
I-
tell
I
you,
yeah.
Titania will tell you that it is not a decision to be rushed into, and I admire your wisdom in choosing to take patience. If you choose to keep it, then it is yours.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold on to it.
She blesses your union. You both feel as the summer sun shines a little bit brighter in this moment. And though the stained glass windows are on all sides of the church, and as Helena specifically chose the sun to be at its zenith, there is not intentionally light shining in the building. But as the Summer Queen blesses your union, light pours in from everywhere. And you feel this moment where both Lathander and the Summer Queen have blessed this union.
Ultra
bids you-
blessed.
Ultra blessed. She bids you a wonderful lifetime, and hopes that you will all find your way back into her realm one day. And as the sun passes its zenith, he too fades into this ethereal dust to return to the Fey realm.
I've got to learn how to fucking do that.
You
I
are
do have a
all
wish
within-
spell.
Hmm? As Davos and Helena take this opportunity to reseal their now blessed union with another kiss, we're going to go ahead
Hell
and
shit.
call the end to our adventure there.
I would like to add. I was gonna reveal it in Nightstone for the yearly festival, but I had Miros and some other guys, stonemasons, working on this, and it's
Okay.
a statue of every one of our heroes, and we're holding up Bergen, maybe Goldbrand and Ark, the two stronger ones, holding Bergen up as he's, I don't know, reaching out diamond, just radiant light, and then at the bottom you see the words Davos and the gang.
Davos and the gang. Oh god.
And the
It is
gang.
commissioned and crafted with the finest of details. It is actually placed in the very center of town, which still has its amethyst pit, and the statue does drift and rotates ever so slowly over the town, as if the guardians of Nightstone are perpetually keeping watch over it.
You know, Pandora sneaks in every now and then at night and leaves a big hefty donation of her pirated wares at the foot of the statue as like an offering.
Oh yeah,
For some
the
reason,
wyvern
I
still
thought you were
shows
gonna
up all the
say-
time.
For some reason, I thought you were gonna say she treats it like a litter box on occasion. Like,
Oh,
just a
God.
donation
Well,
of
no,
cat
she's
food.
on Davos
The exact opposite.
But y'all see through Davos and the gang as an illusion. It's a minor illusion, and it's just Lords of Nightstone.
Oh,
It's
I
just-
love it!
Oh,
Guys.
still peas on your statue boots.
Oh my god. That's
I wouldn't expect any less from Pandora.
Before we conclude our night, I will open it up if anybody has any other things they would like to add on to the epilogue.
I mean, Goldbrand
Oh,
tells
so-
everybody bye. Probably
We
after
gotta come
that.
back every
That's-
year. Every year for the
Goldbrand.
Nightstone Fest.
I thought I told Goldbrand I needed a handwritten letter before he left. Okay, I'm just saying.
That's why he learned to read!
4 hours. Spends 4 hours writing it, and it's only like half a page.
It's one word, bye.
Got
I think
to
I'll read,
go.
it, I'll read it aloud proudly like a dad. I'm like, it says goodbye, and then illegible, your something, and a thumbs up.
Fours nows.
Took a long time to
mouse.
draw the thumb.
A drawing of a star.
Hands are
like-
hard.
I think Goldbrand would come back every year until he was. He would come back eventually blind, or not come back because he was blind.
I like to think
No.
that
Hideo would bring you Gideon somebody.
Oh, the wyvern
Yeah.
would pick him up every time, bro.
I like to think that all 9 of the
Aunt
lords
Jean.
get back together at least once a year. Some of them choose to stay there full time. Some of you choose to venture the world, but you mark the day of your defeat of the Obsidian Dragon and of the forces of evil as a special holiday. And indeed, Nightstone becomes a thriving city. What was once home to hundreds, when you found it, only 30 or 50 survivors. Now home to well over 1,000, as you've created a haven in many ways, but also a phenomenon, a spectacle, a floating city that is powered by the gemstone dragons and guarded by some of the most powerful people in the realm. You guys have taken Nightstone from a backwater town to probably the most spoken of location in Faerun. Beautiful metaphor.
More than Baldur's Gate and Waterdeep.
Fuck those places.
Yeah.
Campaign 2 is like Kingdom and Warfare. Conquer the whole continent.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say Pandora probably picks on Waterdeep a whole lot.
That's okay.
Well, piracy and all, you know. But
They need a little bit
feel
of
like
it.
I feel like part of her piracy is for the Amethyst Dragon too. You know, gotta be a little
yeah.
bit not so bad.
You throw a few coins in that amethyst pit every time you come. Just a little tribute to keep hot stuff happy.
You know, it doesn't matter where I got those coins. It totally wasn't from Waterdeep.
Oh, she would love it all the more if it was. It's fine. I will also tell you guys one final thing. There was a character that you met with in this campaign that is from another campaign, and no one picked up on it. I will say this is a little difficult because Devin and Brandon, as well as Bergen, have met this character. The rest of you haven't.
Is it a lizard?
That shisty
Like-
merchant.
Nah, it's the
I'm gonna
lizard
give you
and
guys.
the lizard and the black fins.
Oh, well, no, but you know he's from a previous campaign. I'm saying there was a character that y'all never picked up was a recurring character. Never gave their name, but I'll give each of you, let's say, a total of 3 yes or no questions. Try to see if you can narrow it down and identify it.
You said a different campaign, like one that y'all had run, or like D&D 5e canon.
From a different campaign that you, me, Devin, and Spencer have all been a part of.
That had to be. Well,
Which
Spencer
is-
wasn't part of
Spencer's-
any other campaign
Except this.
that I was.
Oh, was he
So
not?
just me and Devin.
No. Yeah.
Oh, then I guess it was just you two.
So it'd have to be Strahd or Eberron.
Eberron.
3 yes or no questions.
Ever-
What do you ask?
We never like got to talk to. You never said their name.
Correct. They're also very different from what they were like in that campaign, at least personality-wise.
How the hell are we supposed to get that? No name, different
we
We're
all
personality.
to them. So
Well,
it's not Savix, is it?
I don't even know who that is, so I'm going to say no.
Okay, good.
That was the Emerald Claw guy with Savix?
Nah, Savix was like a dragon y'all interacted with. Y'all didn't know she was
Oh.
a dragon for a long time.
I'll tell you a couple of things. It was an enemy in this campaign, but an ally in your previous campaign. The character was from Strahd, and it was a player character.
Oh, it's gotta be Joey's character. What was his name? Was that Munin? The monk?
Moonin was our
It was-
Eberron.
That was
Moonin was the
Eberron.
druid that.
Yeah. So he played Chewie, who was a Leonin.
Chewy.
I'm trying. I don't remember. Oh no, you played a rogue who's called
The undead
Kieran.
rogue Kieran. Yeah.
Why did you do
And
this to me?
then Stefan was the sorcerer who
Mhm.
was
he
the
was like a
lightning?
storm.
yeah. And then we had Devin.
Devin was DM for Strahd.
That was Strahd.
Desmond, sorry.
Desmond
Desmond
was.
He was that Warforged 3 different personalities character.
Yes. The professor and the kid and the fucking
Right.
psychopath.
Was Josh in that campaign?
I'm about to go find out.
I don't know. I'll tell you said the character's name.
I think it's Kieran, but I don't remember where I would have heard Kieran this campaign.
So then when would he have been an undead?
Kieran wasn't undead.
I guess
see
yes or no. Was
Tempest.
it Kieran in the
I see
Strahd
Tempest.
campaign?
It was
Or-
not Kieran.
Yeah. I see Tempest, Arm, Kieran, and Galvin.
Galvin was Josh's character. He was our cleric. I remember.
Oh
that.
yeah.
He's a furbolg, I think.
We didn't
Yeah.
ever fight. We didn't fight Tempest, did we? I don't remember fighting
Tempest?
That's Stefan's sorcerer.
Scared. All right, I'm scared. An ally.
It
What was
was
that?
an ally, and this time it was a
PC ally.
So in Strahd, it was a
fought-
player
if we-
character ally. In
If we
this
fought
campaign, it was an
Mordenkainen,
enemy.
oh shit.
Devin, you're not listening. It's a PC.
Oh, nah, I give up. I don't remember fighting any of these fuckers. Well, no. Amerigo punched the shit out of us, but I don't remember fighting any of these fuckers.
I'm just trying to think big enemies this go round. Bane, Darkwind.
What wasn't even a big enemy per se. It accompanied a big enemy in the Fey realm. All of you have technically fought that enemy.
Is it the,
See,
one
I
of the
wasn't
frogs?
here for the
frog?
Fae.
What was that?
The
Josh?
frog?
Was it the frog?
It was not the frog. That was Devin's bit.
Lord Yellowcrest.
I'll let one more guess and then.
I don't remember his name. We
Those
all
are the
fought.
only.
It wasn't
Those-
Kieran. It wasn't. Well, then where was
If it wasn't Kieran or Tempest, then it has to be Chewie, Galfin, or Arm.
right?
I mean,
I haven't fought any furbolgs.
Right, and we didn't fight any Warforged, so it has to be Chewie, who was Leonin.
He was. Y'all fought any cat people?
Fighting the
Like I
cat.
said, I wasn't part of the Fey realm session.
Wait. Like,
Oh,
Shit.
I think Barb's got it.
Wait,
God, I've slept since then, and my brain has two brains now.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
remember fighting any cat people.
I
When
do,
y'all-
but I can't place it. I
What was that,
I
Ben?
just remember this.
the Sphinx thing that like charmed me.
Sphinx thing. Oh,
Can't
it wasn't a
Remember, like, its
sphinx,
actual name.
but you're
Can't remember
close.
its actual name.
I'm scrolling
Uh,
back to your strongholds
when-
and followers to find his name.
It's that thing that made me punch Pandora in the face.
You are correct. When
Yeah.
you guys fought Azazel, he brought in two allies, an Oni and a Rakshasha. Rakshasha,
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
cat demon. The lore explanation is that when Chewie left Barovia and was sent back to his realm, he found that when Chewie was abducted, he was abducted during the middle of a raid on his village. His village was destroyed in his absence, and that bitterness made him want vengeance, which ultimately got him drawn into some darker forces of hell, and he became a Rakshasha. And as Rakshashas regenerate, he might make an appearance in a future campaign. Little
Yeah.
Easter
a
egg no one
different
picked
name.
up on. Well, Rakshasha is the type of creature. He never said his name. I used the same voice for him. I described him as spotted instead of a tiger, which I thought Devin would pick up on. I also described some of the attire that Chewie wore. But that was just a fun little thing for me.
Y'all have had enough characters at this point. I can't keep them all straight.
I mean,
Honestly, I'm surprised
I
you
did-
guys guessed. I was sitting here like, I can't keep up with the characters in my actual campaign.
I've had
Yeah,
like
keep up with the
characters and I
spirit
There's a
still
lot.
can't
that you
keep up.
have.
It's rough.
What
I
was
can
that?
hardly remember.
Josh can't keep up with the spirits has folling along
He's got
within him.
what?
It's like fucking
Is the
Goldbrand
mummy
and
still
his
here?
offspring.
Yeah, Goldbrand and his kids.
The
Accurate.
6-page report.
There was a brief moment where I was like, when Goldbrand meets the Uthgard, there's going to be like 36 of his kids who would just come from the various tribes, like, oh, I'm that one's.
Fathers.
Fucking. Basically.
I feel like it's an episode of Full House, 90s
They all just-
style, sitcom entrance.
Everywhere you look, somebody Goldbrand has
Mark and Uncle B, Uncle
as a
Jesse.
kid. And-
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So Joey, what was your favorite part to run? Session or sequence of events?
What was your favorite part of the trip?
Yeah, what was your favorite, Joey?
Oh God, that's tough.
Killing us
Um,
all the time.
Yeah.
Or
I don't
if-
know, that's
Conversely, a least favorite. If it's
well,
you can keep it.
I enjoyed pretty much all of it. I really enjoyed the battle with Imrith. That was really fun. I don't know if I would say that's my favorite, but I would have to stew on that for a bit. I'm gonna flip the tables on you. What was the part you really enjoyed, Davos?
I mean, obviously the ending's gonna be up there, but to take away from that, I guess like just every session opportunity to make you guys just guffaw in anger at my puns was, as a whole, probably my favorite thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Devin,
I
what
was
about
gonna
you?
say,
Or Pandora, if she's ready.
no, I was gonna say I enjoyed being a fucking guest star villain and then coming in as a permanent cat girl.
Yeah. In fact, I would say that's probably my favorite bit, has been tying in the multiverses. Try to get a character from each campaign, at least, to, mix it up. We had Mezzo and Chewie and Zane. I guess a lot of my PCs, but it's easier for me to roleplay them. And then we had a few from...
Yeah. And I would say, meta-wise, having you three come in mid-campaign so that way we could continue/finish it was awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
I also liked how Tabitha showed up in Candlekeep to kind of tie it together, which I thought was really cool.
Wasn't intended when I first started it, but then when y'all got tied in, I'm like, well, I guess she still exists in the same world. Why not?
But then that's when
I
she
thought that
met
was a lot of
Z, and then, like, it's awesome.
And they fell in
now
love
she's
and they're
my
gonna have
girlfriend.
baby golf babies.
I know, right?
Yeah. Little half-dead goth babies. Devin, what do you think, dude? Give us a moment you liked.
I think a lot of, like, for me, it's not a moment so much as, like, there will be scenes from every campaign that live with me forever. The reincarnation from Z to V will stick with me forever. The first time that Goldbrand had a big, like, battle moment with the hill giants, he stood down 2 hill giants at once. That will stick with me forever. The scene where he's walking through the fire to go execute Sansuri will stick with me forever. And if I sat here and thought about it for a minute, there's, scenes from throughout the whole campaign that I'll probably remember for a long, long time.
Music definitely
What about you,
tying
Josh?
in really nice.
For real, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, during the wedding, I was like, I put on a random playlist that I had not heard before today. And the fact that it got to that perfect little bit during the wedding, I'm like, all right, everything's coming together.
Oh,
What
yeah.
about you, Josh?
It's all coming together.
Yeah, Devin stole a little bit of mine, but like for me, I created this character like years ago and never actually got to finish anything with him. And so to put him in here and then like the meditation at the lake and unlocking like the multiple elemental abilities was crazy for me. I was like, oh, this is the coolest thing I've ever experienced. But then when Z died and V came back, I was like, that's like the pentultimate, like the avatar. That's the coolest thing that I could have possibly asked for in a campaign. And I will say tonight, I don't get super emotional, but for some reason, like at the beginning of the wedding scene, maybe it was knowing that the campaign was about to end, but like I got a little bit emotional to myself, and I was like, oh, that's
Oh, yeah,
wild.
the feels are real. Like when you finish a book or an anime or something that you've been watching for a long time, you're like, this has been hours of my life, and it feels like it's paid off.
Yeah, and I think Devin brought it up last week to DM a campaign that many sessions, keep it going, bringing in these new people. It is a feat. It is truly something impressive.
If you
So
average
props.
3.5 hours, that's 227 hours of play.
I believe it.
That's probably 300 hours of prep. Catherine was cussing him out for. He's sitting here in bed while Atticus is trying to eat dinner. Like, can you help me with the child? No, damn it.
Did they beat the
Gotta make
dragon
sure this
yet,
guy
dear?
can die, but come back in a really fun way.
Right.
Now, yeah, you three coming in the second half really breathed some new life into it, because I had plans for Tally and Valkyr and Zatari, and as they drifted out, those plans had to change. And y'all gave me some fun ways to tie in those threads and also interject some new ones. Tally was supposed to be the driver of the Gemstone Dragon plot, because he was going to be the one that led y'all into the Fey Realm and find the Amethyst Dragon and all that. But then to have Arcanox come in as a dragon who was the epitome of a dragon, I'm like, we can definitely work with this. And Pandora, having you come in, and I'm like, okay, I know her sister's missing. I can tie that into existing content with the Grand Dame, and I can have them go to Skullport because that's just fun to fucking do. That's not
Oh
in the
man, I love
adventure as
blowing
written.
the shit out of Skullport, man.
Oh yeah, that was a fun moment.
Reversing gravity, all that shit.
That was a cool fight.
That was a
No,
really cool fight.
It was fun to work with all of you and sort of make your take what you guys had and make it all work together. And I hope all of you feel like that your character did have a full arc, that you got to work out some highs and lows of your character's lifespan. But it was a blast for me every session. I may have been sweating on some of them more than others, but I had fun every single one. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I am curious to peek behind the curtain a little bit, with DMing maybe for my kids one day, knowing how it all works.
Yeah.
Like, how did we completely derail one moment, and did you either just go with it, or did you kind of guide us back?
Well, no, we did that to him. So if you remember the whole attack on, that may not have been here. Were y'all here when we went and murked that succubus in her own?
Nope.
There was a succubus pretending to be a noble, and we went and murked her. And to my understanding, that was not part of the plan whatsoever.
No, I was setting up this. It was going to be the Battle of Bane, more or less, where all these forces were sort of descending on Nightstone. And instead of wait for the forces to come, they went out and killed some of the enemy leaders. And so I'm
Totally
like, okay,
got seduced.
Oh yeah, got macked on by a succubus. Helena still gives you shit about it, but he wrote a pretty badass song about it, so we'll let it slide. You suck so sweet, but spelled S-U-C-C.
Space and everything.
No, it was a blast, dude. So much of this was not in Storm King's Thunder. Like, none of the stuff with the Iron Ring, none of the stuff with Bane, the fight with Slackertail wasn't in the adventure as written. Skullport wasn't a part of it. The Fey Realm wasn't a part of it. Azazel, all of that was just sort of thrown in. And how I pictured it going months ago, when we started, or over a year ago, I guess now, how I pictured it going and how it actually turned out were vastly different. But that's part of what D&D is about. It's a collaborative storytelling thing. I don't, set the script and you guys read from it. You guys make the world change around you. Yeah, I definitely learned a lot from it. It was a fun learning experience.
So I know you're
Definitely DM again.
I was about to say, I know you're ready for a break, but have you put any thought into what you'll run after Spelljammer?
No, I have some vague thoughts. Like, if we come back to Faerun, I know a couple of things that I want you guys to do. Like, there's got to be something in the Neverwinter Woods so you guys can fight some dinosaurs. There's got to be something where you guys check out the Haunted Woods. There's certain things, like, I want to revisit this.
Yeah, I'm trying to get you to run Wild Map.
I mean...
Yeah, I've got Neverdeep, by the way. Call of the Netherdeep.
Call of the Netherdeep? Oh, that's fun.
But it's physical, so I don't have a digital copy.
If you ran like a small, on occasion we had to have a filler do like a one-shot where it was like a singular module of the group goes on like a singular adventure to go conquer this one area of an existing map.
The gang goes to Spooky Woods. Yeah,
have you considered a like Critical Role does, like a 1-part or 2-part level 20? Like, we all jump on these characters again at level 20, and
yeah.
Shit.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that for our one shot. Our RRL one.
I've entertained the idea, but I haven't picked like a pivotal moment or a character that you guys would go up against. We'll just kind of be something that I stew on for a little while. I don't know how many chances we'll get to do the one shot. I know that Brandon will be up here for a few days. I think that V will at least be up here for a couple. I just said V instead of Josh. Wow.
We're the same. Fun.
Yeah, one and the same. V looks more like you than Z did, so it kind of works.
It's true.
that was one of the moments where I was like, this is too fucking perfect. Like, I looked for fucking hours through Earth Ganassi art trying to find something that had a similar vibe, and found that, and I was like, this is it, right fucking here, no goddamn doubt.
I don't think I told any of you, but I showed my wife the picture of what he had sent me for V, and she was like, did he just, like, AI a photo of you or something? Because it looked so much like you. I was like, that's, okay, well, I don't think he did that, but that's really cool. Because it really does. It felt like it was my character, and I was like, that's so cool to see it evolve into that.
Yeah, you gotta grow out your beard, get that little bottom knot he has. Also,
Work
dye
it.
your hair green.
Do it.
With that, my dudes, it's almost 1 here, and I want to get stoned and pass the fuck out. So,
That's so lovely.
to all of you, a very, very good night. Don't forget to love yourselves and one another. And is it time for the next campaign yet? Like, seriously, any day now would be great.
Happy night, Sunday.
See y'all in space.
Be good, dudes. Love y'all. Deuces.
Love you guys. Love you guys.
Love you.
Later, guys.
Yeah.
Oh.